Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just welcome everybody this morning. And I thank God this morning for the blessing of His first, the pleasure of His first, the beauty of His first, the provision of His first. I'm not here this morning to promote first sips, but what I am here is to promote the beauty of His first. Sometimes when you look at the word first, which it can hold, a lot of different definitions, it can be first in order, first in rank, or of utmost importance, first in the first place, first in start. But when we look at the first of God, His first is different. There are first that operate in the earth, first in rank, first in officials and different things. But this first is different. God's first is the highest ranking first in the world. This first holds His sovereignty, it holds His power, it holds everything. That's why the first of God can begin anything. It takes me back into Genesis, and talked about the earth. It said, and the earth was without form and it was dark, and darkness covered the face of the deep. Deep. When we first look at that, we see that's the first thing we saw, right? The darkness, it had no form, there was nothing there. That was first at that point until God said. Now, here is the first. The sovereign first started speaking. When the sovereign first began to speak, it changed the order of what was first, which was the dark, which was the without form. Now, this first causes what was first to take on a whole new shape and a whole new form. This first. And so, when we look into today and we begin to see the need of His beautiful first, and that includes things, but it includes you. Because, we look at the Genesis, we remember when Adam and Eve failed. And so first God created us in His beauty, right? Created us in His image. So when Adam and Eve sinned, now we're in a whole nother first. Now we're sinners. Now we're going through all this different stuff. Now who we are as people and as persons, we're operating in a different first. We have been joined together with something else, and we're no longer functioning now in the first that we got at first from God. But thanks be to God that because of what Jesus did, He restored us to our first place in God. As a matter of fact, when the Lord begins to mention the reason why He came to the earth, He'll speak about His first reasons why He came. One of His first reasons, He said it, I came to give you life, and that you might have that more abundantly. He also said that part of this first and us being rejoined to this first was to reconcile you back to God Himself. To God Himself. And actually, we were there anyway. That was our first place in the beginning. We were joined with God, and a separation took place. But Jesus is saying, but I came to put you back in your first place. And so even in that, you look at it, how we lived in sin and all of the different things going on, but yet His coming here first was powerful enough to put us back into a place that we couldn't get to. And that is a need. We need that first. We need a first that ranks high over sin, over the world, over the wickedness, over the problems around us, over the problem in us. And one of the reasons why the world is in trouble the way it is, because it's still operating in its own order. It's not operating under the first of God. It's still operating in what Adam did first. And what the nations really need is to return to the first of God, and then they will return to the first. But I just encourage you this morning, because God's first carries His utmost love. And one of the reasons why He sent His Son, He says it. He says His first reason why He sent Him. He didn't just send His Son to, restore assignments or titles or things we operate in as prophets and teachers and so many other things. We do operate in those things. But He gave His first reason why He sent His Son to the earth. And that was to restore us back to Him. And even though we were sinners and he saw us, his first thought was, let me send my son first. I'm not going to send my son first to condemn, but I'm going to send my son so he can first save, first deliver, first set free, first be made whole. I'm going to send my grace first so they can be restored unto me. So this morning, like I said, I'm not here to promote the book, but I am here to promote the loving kindness of his first, the grace of his first, the heart of his first. When you listen at the things that God says first, it'll show you what's the utmost important. Now, our callings, yes, they are important. Our obedience is important. Our services to God, important. The giving and everything else is important. But when you really, really listen to the heart of God, what you will see is that you are of utmost importance to God. That when he looks at you or when he thinks about you, the first thing doesn't come to his mind is condemnation, but the first thing that comes to his mind is love. That is the first thing. And whatever situations that we are in, whether it be men or whether it be women, there is a first for us. There is a first for you, so that the struggling man can be restored back to the whole man, the man that stands upright, so that the struggling woman can be restored back to the woman who stands upright. And this verse will even affect the children. So I just encourage you today to just remember the first. Remember that you are first to him. You really are. And I know sometimes it's strange, we are to put God first. That is definitely our responsibility. But what the amazing thing is, in a sense, when the Lord sent his son to this earth while we was yet sinners, he put the importance and the need of him shedding his blood to restore you back to him first. He actually put you first, because when we looked at us first, what were we first? Sinners. And he could have easily gave us the first of condemnation, because that is where he was. But how did he think of you first? Let me send my son. I love them so much. Let me send my son to forgive them of their sins, to cleanse them so they can be together with me again. So I pray this morning and invite you to the first of God, to the first of who he is, to the first of everything he has done on the cross and the resurrection, so you can walk in the blessing of his first. Have a wonderful Sunday, and I love you. See you later.